Hi Pisces, welcome to your week ahead Taroscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, my readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant signs. So whether you're sun, moon or rising sign Pisces, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you. With that said, before we start, as always, I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So this week, for your key to the week, you have the Death card. Endings, completions, culminations. Remember, the Death card is very often a moment in our lives where we have to acknowledge that something has truly come to its end. Something has reached the winter of its lives and is now ready for it's not even reaping the harvest, right? Because harvest is still about sustaining life. The Death card is literally about an end, a completion, a culmination, something that comes to a finite close. And in a lot of ways, when this card shows up in the tarot, it does give you somewhat of an insight to say to you, if you end this now, or you allow it to perish, or if you allow it to die its natural death, you can and will avoid the tower moment, right? So this week, pay attention to what you know that you feel on those deeper levels is now ready for release, all right? For those of you that are continued subbies, you know Rafi loves you. And if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and this resonates, hit that subscribe button. All right, so for your foundation, you've got the Eight of Swords. So coupled with the Death card, this could literally be the end of things that have held you captive, things that have held you bound, things that have held you down in some way, shape or form. You might come into a realization this week, wow, you know what, letting this thing go is actually going to be the best thing for me. Maybe this is a job, maybe it's a partnership, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a friendship, maybe it's an old thought pattern or a belief of some sort of yours. Like there's something this week that is coming to an end that there's a big realization about, and I think it's going to give you a powerful understanding of how actually now there is freedom. All right, for your actions and options, you've got the Nine of Swords. We've got the 8 and the 9 now. Remember, with the run of cards like that, usually one thing that I've observed over a lifetime, well, I say over a lifetime, over the amount of time that I've been practicing, men in the spirit world will come through numbers, women will come through words. So the fact that you've had a sequence of numbers there, this week, if you have dreams about people or loved ones that have passed on, pay attention, because there's going to be some nugget of truth or wisdom in there that could possibly be very beneficial for you. And it's likely to be a man that has passed over that is in the spirit world in some way, shape or form. Now, you've got the Nine of Swords here in your actions and options. There is a little bit of anxiety this week, right? And so something is coming to an end and you know this, but it's like, oh, you know, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm a little bit nervous. You know, is this going to be all right? Am I going to be all right? Are they going to be all right? Like there's just a lot of hypertension, not like with the heart, but do you know what I mean? Like you're hypertense or hyper alert this week because you feel that something's coming to an end. You can cling on to it and allow it to kind of almost like take you down with it, or you can release it in love and see whether it comes back to you or not. For your communications and conversations, you have the Hermit card. This is right underneath the Death card. This week, it's really, really important that you check in with yourself before you ask anybody else's opinion, before you bounce your ideas off of somebody else. I would really be very honest with yourself this week about what you need, about where it is that you actually feel like you're heading. And if you don't feel like you're heading anywhere, especially when it comes to the career, like if you look at your work and you think, you know what, I'm in a dead-end job and actually this sucks and I don't like it, I know I want to change it. That's fine, because that true, honest acknowledgement is way better than no, everything's fine and just glossing it over, right? If you come to a realization this week on a deep inner level about your work, about your career, through conversation with friends or whatever, let that settle in, because it's actually going to, like, that's when the true process of catharsis happens, and it's also when the process of real healing takes place. I like this a lot. Now, one way that this could show up Literally, that could be the death of an elder, news that an older person has died, or is, maybe making their journey slowly towards the end of their lives. I'm really sorry to say that, and I truly hope that I am wrong, but it is a possibility, and I need to tell you that. Now, that being said, when it comes to those of you that work for somebody else as an employee, there's a sense this week of not so much loneliness. I kind of feel like you're just left to get on with it. And I don't know why, but I feel like there might be a little bit of resentment there about that this week, right? And I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think maybe the best way for you to manage that is to be vocal about what it is that's causing it. When it comes to your business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, your Hermit card is really kind of saying to you got to take something back to the drawing board, right? Whatever this thing was that you were hoping to release or to do out there, it needs to be looked at. It's not quite right. It needs a second go. It needs a new iteration. It needs some sort of, I was going to say padding, but you don't want padding. You want something that can stand on its own. And I don't think it's ready to do that at this moment in time. And the Hermit card is basically saying this week you're going back to the drawing board with something to do with your business. That's not a bad thing at all. I actually don't think it is at all. When it comes to those of you that are retired or no longer working for any reason, well, look, all of you, so there's 2 9s here as well. 2 9s represents receipt. For some of you, something that you've purchased this week, you might need to return, you might need to get a refund for or take back. And then for those of you that are retired, as I was saying, this week, I almost want to say to you, like, this is a week where your ideas have to come first. Pisces is very accommodating for other people, but whatever your ideas about something are the things that you need to be pushing this week. For your love and relations, you got the 9 of Cups. This is lovely, right? So very, very interesting. You've got 3 9s here, right? Well, yeah, you've got 3 9s. So in a lot of ways, what is 9, right? First of all, 9 is culmination, completion, and ending. So you've got a double hit of that energy. Then you've got the 3 9s, which can be about success sometimes. They can also be, and this is why I say to you, when it comes to your relationship or your partnership, for those of you that are single, the 9 of Cups underneath the 9 of Swords suggests that you're wrestling with yourself on something. Maybe there's somebody that you like, maybe there is, and this is the thing, maybe you're hypothesizing about, all the reasons this can't work, all the reasons this isn't right, all the reasons that, and you're coming up with this list of things, and it's like, just let that go, right? Unfortunately, some things just have to unfold and develop. With the 9 of Cups as well, I get the feeling that for those of you that have asked, for a partner, somebody has recently been revealed to you, and now you're trying to figure out how you feel about that. And it's kind of, because Pisces is a very knowing sign, like you guys are very intuitive. It's just, it takes a lot to hone that energy if you've got it as a Pisces, because Pisces doesn't have any boundaries of its own, so it needs to find them out in the world or in other people. This is really, really important for you guys to find something that can anchor that energy. And I kind of feel like this week the intuition is actually on point. So, listen to it, see what it's trying to tell you. And then finally, when it comes to those of you that are married or partnered or in long-term relationships, the 9 of Cups is new lease on life for the relationship, right? It's where something is mended, some rift or challenge is what's the word that I'm looking for? Some rift or challenge is mended, right? It's just brought back into a much better alignment of what it actually is in a lot of ways. When it comes to your money and materials, you've got the 2 of Cups. So if you want to make money this week, don't go it alone. It's through partnerships, connections, collaborations. Now, that being said, I did say obviously the Hermit card can be somewhat lonely. It's not saying that you have to be lonely. It just says something needs to go back to the drawing board. It's not quite you know, what you thought it was and what it actually is are slightly different at this point, and so you need to be aware of that. But there's good money to be made in collaborations and connections. With the Two of Cups as well, finding ways to make money go further through getting the most out of what you already have will be quite important this week. When it comes to the physical health and vitality, this is especially here with the Hermit card. That's going to be your tummy. So you got to look after the diet this week, right? You got to maybe plan ahead, maybe start thinking about ways that you can, you know, really start looking after yourself over the longer term. And then finally, when it comes to your home and environment, this is a week now, even though you've got a lot going on in the work sector and possibly in the mind and all the rest of it, this would be a week, invite people over. Do not be alone, right? This is not a week to be alone. This is, yes, with the work, go back to the drawing board, work hard at it and put your head to it, absolutely. But in general, invite people over, go and visit people, like make this a sociable week, all right? Don't shut yourself away. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.